G'day, ZiggyD here with my level 20 recap for my build of the week number 3. As you can see, the Ice Shot Pure Evasion Ranger won out on the voting. I think there was about 12 votes difference between it, so it was about 105 to 93, so fairly close, but the Ranger did win out. Now, so far, this build has been a pleasure to level. It's been easy mode, really. As you can probably see by the darkness here, that I've actually already through to pools and streams, and I'm level 23, which is about when I usually do this, a couple of levels after level 20. And I've been consistently further along in the game at a lower level than I have been leveling the past 2 builds, and it's just been very smooth. I've had okay gear, but mostly it's been just nice kiting with Ice Shot chilling and freezing enemies, and pretty much working as I was hoping that it would work. Even now, early on in the game, that it just makes things a lot easier to kite and still does a lot of damage. So far that's going pretty smooth. As you can see, we'll take a look at my skills here. I'm using 2 separate Ice Shot gems. To do that, I just leveled another Ranger very briefly to the Glyph Wall quest, I believe is the quest to get Ice Shot. So I just quickly sped leveled 1 through to that, grabbed Ice Shot, and then deleted that character after putting the skill in the stash. So that got me 2 Ice Shots. So once I got there with this character, I got my second Ice Shot. So got 2 there, one slightly higher level than the other one. One is linked to added cold damage for single target damage, and at the moment that does about 147 DPS. And the other one's linked to lesser multiple projectiles, which still does a pretty hefty 93 DPS, which is pretty nice for AoE like that. And the AoE on this skill, just with lesser multiple projectiles alone, is actually really solid. Let's see if I can find a mob pack while I'm going. So while I was leveling, I was also using Poison Arrow. I just think Poison Arrow is a fantastic leveling skill in general. Throughout the lower parts of the game, especially if you happen to get like the unique Silver Branch or something like that, which gives you bonus skill gem level for ranged attacks, for bow attacks, so that makes Poison Arrow pretty much insane for leveling. But I'm not using tactics like this in these, I'm trying to get the authentic experience. So other than that, I also got the quest that starts giving you access to curses. I had the choice between Frostbite and projectile weakness. I opted for Frostbite, keeping in theme with the build, and I think the 10% chance to be frozen will probably win out. The difference between these 2 skills is that Frostbite gives you more damage against cold resistant enemies and that chance to freeze, while projectile weakness gives you slightly less damage but against all targets. So it's like 25% damage extra against all targets rather than 30% against cold resistant. But since I figured, since I'm only really using cold, then cold resistant enemies will be tougher. Later on, I think I'll probably be picking up the Enfeeble curse as well, because I think that's going to work really well with a pure evasion build. So that's pretty much it in terms of skills. I'll quickly take a look at my gear. I've just got an okay bow there with some critical strike chance and physical damage and cold damage, the main damage types for this build, and stacking a lot of physical damage is going to give you the biggest benefit. And then later on, ice damage will help out as well. I've pretty much been using pure evasion gear. If you can stack over 50% evasion chance early on in the game, then it's very solid, but towards the sort of middle section of the game, before you start really getting a lot of those evasion passives, it can be good to stack a little bit of armor and energy shields and things like that while you're leveling. So pretty much the general rule for leveling is to always pick up the best armor pieces you can, regardless of the base type. So as you can see, I'm using armor energy shield chest piece here, just because it's an awesome chest piece compared to the pure evasion one that I had before. So 46 to life regen, increased armor and things like that. So it's very nice there. Managed to get some decent rings and things like that there. Rolled an extra cold damage amulet, which is always nice. Some attack speed. Are they move speed? No, they're not move speed. I do need some move speed boots, but they have nice resist and things like that, and some fairly nice gloves and things like that. So pretty okay gear overall. I've been trying to spend most of my currency on my gear because I really want to keep this character alive. I'm hoping that I can take it into the end game. So let's go ahead and jump into the passives tree now. Now, pretty much up to this point, I hadn't really planned out my long-term goal for passives tree. However, I have since then planned it out. I might show you after that, after I talk about this. Now, the reason for this is I pretty much knew what I wanted to get in the early areas of the Ranger tree, and since I know that I'm going to be sticking to this right side of the tree because I need to be able to get acrobatics and things like that, I knew I wouldn't be venturing across the tree. It's fine to stay in this sort of area. I knew that I wouldn't really do the wrong thing staying here. So To start off with, I've grabbed as much health as I could, and that's been my main goal. I first started off by grabbing attack speed, then evasion, then I came out through here, got the damage, came through and got evasion, which was nice and helpful, finesse, which is always good, the life through there and down straight into the life here. Then straight from here I've come over and gotten this life, then gotten the might and savant there for extra mana. I'm having some mana problems, that's going to be something I have to deal with. I think I'm going to come across here next to grab mana flows, which should help out a lot. First I'm going to grab these life. I've got 520 life on a ranger at this point of the game. It's pretty solid, so I'm feeling pretty safe at the moment, and that's been a part of why I've been able to progress so quickly. So I'll actually pull up my planned passives tree here in a second. Okay, so I loaded up the passives tree from where my character is currently up to, and then added onto it where I want to head with the build. Now this isn't 100% finalized, and I have overspent a little bit on points because I just want to plot out the things that I want to get, but I might adjust my priorities as I level depending on what I need. So as you can see, I've finished filling out the life here. I've come through and grabbed mana flows and mana here, and then come down and grab leather and steel, which even though the armor won't help me at all later, 24% evasion rating, still very good. And Ice Bite for 30% increased cold damage. Now the cone effect from Ice Shot is pure cold damage, so cold damage increasing nodes like this are very powerful. Now this from here, through leather and steel and Ice Bite there, is 6 passive points. Now this is important because I actually had the decision between coming there and getting those 6 nodes, or coming down here and getting up to reflexes here in these 6 nodes. So I sort of calculated which I thought would be better. Although this would provide me with a little bit more evasion coming down here, I'm still 3 points on basic stat nodes, 3 points on basic stat nodes, that's the same. But instead of a little bit more evasion, I get more mana, a reasonable amount of evasion, and a very substantial increase to cold damage. So I've gone with that, but if I feel like my evasion's not high enough after I get acrobatics, that's the one I'm thinking of, then I might adjust that over to that 6 points there. So as you can see, I've come up into the center here and grabbed reflexes. I don't really go past those for the 2 10% nodes there. In terms of point efficiency, just going straight to reflexes and stopping is the best way to go. But again, I can adjust that later if I need to. So that's very nice to grab in there. There's actually not that many evasion nodes in the ranger area, so you really do have to branch off into getting these ones if you are trying to make a pure evasion build and trying to make one that works, which is what I'm trying to do. So from there, I've come down here, I've grabbed these weapon elemental damage, planned those out because they'll be obviously a nice increase as well. Those together is 30%, so same as the Ice Bite there. And celerity, which I think move speed will be a big deal since I'm slowing things. Me also running faster is going to help out a lot, but again, that's more supplementary. And then from there we head up here and grab the crit chance nodes here. They're excellent crit chance nodes for bows, crystal skin, which is always nice, and these life nodes here are excellent too, so we'll grab those. And then we'll come up here, and then I'll probably go into acrobatics from here. Now the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to basically save up 6 points or spend 6 points somewhere else and then respec them into this, because if you're going to grab acrobatics, you don't want to just grab acrobatics and then each level grab one of these. You want to grab it all at once to get the maximum effect, since it is removing a big portion of your defensive like armor and energy shield and things like that. So you want to be able to grab them all at once if you can do that. Oh yeah, and I'll grab arrow dodging pretty early on as well, since that doesn't have a drawback and it provides actually a really big survivability boost against projectiles, so that'll be excellent. So I'll actually probably grab that within the next few levels. And then from there I've decided to head up into the shadow tree because there's some really strong nodes in the shadow tree that I think will help us out. So we'll come through here and grab the fitness, and we'll probably come through and grab evasion, energy shield, and nullification here. Nullification is obviously an excellent node, and although we don't get any bonuses from energy shield, we get some pretty nice evasion bonuses there, and we kind of need as much as we can get. From there I'll come and grab the good crit chance node here, and I won't bother with the others. And then acceleration, grab some life, grabs mental acuity for more crit chance and intelligence, just to help out with that mana a little bit more, and then grab a freeze for the 5% extra freeze and extra cold damage. So that's my plan so far, and I don't know, making a pure evasion, it's a very popular mindset that pure evasion builds simply can't work, especially in hardcore. However, I've been trying to do as much research as I can into evasion to see if it is possible to make it work, and it's interesting. If I can combine it with certain skills and things like that, it might be able to work. I don't know if it's going to end up being a better choice than Iron Reflexes, but maybe with this style of gameplay it might work really well. And if I feel like I'm actually been thinking, if I get to the point where I'm getting towards end game and maybe I'm getting close to maps, and you know the build of the week is up, then I might continue pushing forwards with this, especially if I'm still in hardcore. I might continue pushing forwards because I really want to test whether this pure evasion sort of setup can work. And I have some ideas that might possibly make it work, so that'd be pretty interesting to see. So that's pretty much it. So far it's been really solid. I expect the next 20 levels to be pretty good for the next 10 levels, and then I expect it be a little bit difficult in Cruel, especially because I won't be getting in more life nodes for a little while. But hopefully if I can keep on top of my gear and just keep playing well and carefully, then I think things should go pretty nicely, and hopefully I'll still be in hardcore, just to prove again, hardcore league. I'll still be in hardcore for the next recap. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.